Hi everyone, welcome to the IT Global Direction Studios. I'm so excited to have you here. Really excited and a bit nervous because it's our first time having so many viewers for our viewership day. Today we'll be sharing an interview we had with April Lynch, where we were discussing how mothers can balance their careers, especially mothers in IT. How do they keep up with the latest and greatest technologies while they become great mothers at home? It wasn't exciting, and there were so many learnings from this discussion we had with April. Please tune out on our screens. Just a reminder again, I am your host, Rorisang Hlahatsi-Baloyi, and I'm really excited to see this as well. And even though as part of the interview, I'm really interested to get some of the points that I may have not gotten into the discussion, but to view it with you. Please tune into our screens while we air the discussion we had. Thank you so much. Hi April, welcome to the IT Global Direction. My name is Rorisang Hlahatsi-Baloyi. April, please introduce yourself to our viewers. Who are you, where are you in the world today, and what is the hot topic for today?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely honored. My name's April Lynch, and I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And we're here today to talk about IT work-life balance, especially being a mom and keeping up on all that.
It's actually an interesting topic for this month because we have Mother's Day this month. So how do you keep the balance, April, with the forever evolving industry, especially the IT industry? How do you keep the balance?
So I think that, it's always something where you're making mistakes and learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that you have to love it. Like you have to love what you're doing at work.
Yeah.
And so I love being a mom.
Mm.
And I love my job and I love working in that industry.
Yeah.
And so, although it's a lot to keep up on everything in life, I
Mm-hmm.
just, I remind myself that I chose all these things and that I love them.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. And then I think also it's just honestly every day you're committing to yourself, to your family, to your work. Um, and sometimes you're going to have the balance off and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to drop the ball on something. You're going to forget it was pajama day at kindergarten. You're going to forget to read something that you meant to read for work. Who knows, right? It happens. And I think the important thing is just to get back in the game. And I'll say to my kids actually, do you want to try that again? And they'll try it again. And I go, okay, that was better. And I say that to myself too, like, okay, let's try that again. Or let's fix this, or let's make it true. Let's go for it. So I think that, like, how do you find that balance? I think that you're constantly finding the balance.
Yeah.
And it's ongoing, but if you love it all,
Make time.
you make time and you do the
Yeah.
hard work, right? To make
Yeah.
time.
And April, do you think a mother can thrive in their career and become an executive if they want to be, or be a leader in an organization while they also become better mothers or ideal mothers? Is that possible as a mother?
It's so interesting where he's saying like how the narrative's been set up because I
Mm,
think we've been told growing up that these two things are in opposition, that we're a good mom
mm,
or we're good at our job. And that's been the narrative for so long. And
mm,
in life, I honestly have this kind of like internal saying, well, be like, make more pie, make the pie bigger. There's lots
mm,
out there. There's lots to do. It's not finite. So in the same way that it's not you can be this or this, like there's so many possibilities.
mm,
And I also think that how that looks for each person is so individual. So I'll take myself as an example. I really thought my mom stayed home full time with us until I
yeah.
was 12, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the youngest of three. And so I thought that I couldn't do more challenging roles or leadership roles with young kids.
Mm.
I had kids later in life.
Mm.
So I have three young kids and I'm 40.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I had kids, my career was so much part of myself that I couldn't imagine not doing it.
Yeah.
Mm. And so then I just had to figure out, actually, no, it's okay. I can still be me and be a mom.
Yeah.
And, I think that we we overcome the challenges that we're given. We wake
Mm-hmm.
up every day and solve those problems. And for me, the problem to solve was, how do I keep being the person I am and doing the things I love and also be the kind of mom I want to be? And
Yeah.
just trust that you can work towards that every day, and you can define that for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you
It's actually it's the same as me, April. I had my firstborn when I was 33, which is maybe seen as late. And as you mentioned, that my career was already part of my life, and I had to make sure that I'm also a good parent in the like I do my routines the way I would before, but also make sure that I'm a good mother at the same time. And then April, in terms of being a mother, do you think it's you would be a sole mother without a community around you supporting you to be a good mother?
can I know you and I have done shout outs to our husbands. So I'll do the shout out to my husband. Um, yeah, I think I'm so lucky. Probably why this happened later in life for me is I am very stubborn, and you could call that tenacious. But I knew that I couldn't marry just anyone. And even though
Mhm.
I wanted to have a family, I was like, it has to be the right person. And so I
Yeah.
waited and waited, and I found that right person.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did, because we've been able to kind of flex and support each other. So, I didn't make big career moves or do graduate certificates or do huge things while my husband was doing his certification to become a psychologist. I put my stuff on hold. And now he's done that. And I said, okay, I'm going after this. I want to do this in my career. And he's like, okay, you go. I've got it. So I think, if you can find a partnership that works for you.
Mhm.
And then I also think, like, just the community around you. I think that too often we have this idea, because we're the mom, we should
Mhm.
always cook the meals. We should always provide care. We should kiss every injury. We should be there for every bedtime.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you want to do those things, but your kids will be just as loved if you can bring in relationships into into their life, where
Mhm.
there's grandparents, or my youngest just loves this mom friend of mine.
Yeah.
And instead of feeling jealous, I'm like, yeah, you go. Like, you don't want to be with me, you want to be with Krista. That's great. Like, this is amazing. Right? So I think the more we can build community and help each other, I think we can maybe not have to be all things to everyone,
Yeah.
and make a bit of space for ourselves. But it's also good, like, it's good for the kids, it's good for community. So I'm a big believer in that. I think that's really important, to ask for help, to have connection. um, yeah, outsource some things if you can. Like,
Mm.
my husband won't clean. Sorry, he doesn't clean. And I
Yeah.
was like working, studying, all bedtime, nighttime wake ups and cleaning. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good to get help.
Yeah. I know you have been working in other industries as well, not just IT. Is this just common to IT, or you've seen this in other industries as well, where you have to keep up with the latest trends, with whatever is latest in the industry?
I think it's in other industries, but not all industries. Um,
Mm.
so I worked, one of my first kind of teaching roles was at the University of Victoria. And
Mm-hmm.
there, I was in a junior faculty role, and then I moved into a staff role, and then I moved back into a partial faculty role. And
Mm.
there, people felt it was such a privilege to be in those roles, and they were difficult to get. And
Mm.
so definitely, you felt pressure to be presenting at conferences, regularly doing research, really striving a lot.
Mm.
Um, and then I moved to another post secondary where honestly that wasn't the culture at all. And for me, it was
Mm.
really challenging to make that
Yeah.
adjustment. And
Mm.
then I moved into tech, and I think I just I like to learn things. So for me, I was like, what is that? Why does no one, what's going on? But
Mm,
for for other people, I think it, you know, there's good and bad in everything. So
mm,
it was nice sometimes to have that slower pace. Like we never had a lunchtime meeting unless it was catered. You weren't allowed to work extra hours. And I was like, what if I just want to do it for free? Can I just like but the culture was very union and like no. And I for me that was honestly kind of hard. So yeah, I think it depends and I think finding a good fit um,
mm.
is really important. And I hope it didn't sound like judgy. Like I think that, it's about finding a good fit and no one's not better than the other. It's just
Yeah.
what one's good for you, right? And what
Mm.
one kind of makes you feel good.
Yeah. And what can you tell mothers that are out there that they feel like, oh, I'm not doing well with my kids, or I cannot be able to achieve those career goals that I wanted to achieve? Um, is there such a thing as a total perfect work-life balance?
Of course not. I think the problem often, and I know I've felt this way, is that
Mm,
we're told what we should be achieving, but we're not clear on what we want to achieve.
mm,
I think that that's really harmful. Um,
mm,
so I think figuring out because maybe you don't want that executive job and that's okay. Or maybe you want to work part-time, or maybe you want to take a couple of years off, or maybe you want that executive job and you feel like you're not allowed to go for it. So
mm,
like whatever it is, but I think there's so much noise out there, so much expectation, so many opinions, social media, the news, right? Our family expectations and cultural expectations. And I think if you have people in your life that can, challenge you when you say, I should do this, or I have to
mm,
do this, or I can't do this, and just kind of explore that with you, or
yeah.
maybe do a coaching. I did a coaching program on my last maternity leave. Just
Mhm.
I wanted to really get clear on what's next for me. And I think once you find that clarity, just hang on to it, and because you can't say yes to everything, you get to choose, but
Mhm.
you can choose whatever you want,
Yeah.
and you can be good at whatever you choose. So um, I would say for moms who are struggling, you're probably doing way better than you think you are. So maybe talk to some nice other moms who are also struggling. I found that really helpful at school pickup. I'd be like, "Oh man, what? That's coming up?" And all the moms were like, "We know it's so overwhelming." And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm glad it's not just me, right?"
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what I would kind of say is just get rid of the noise if you can, and
Mm,
know everyone's on their own journey, and when they give you advice, usually they're trying to be helpful, and you
yeah.
can smile and nod and just forget about it. Don't listen to them. And keep moving
April, really thank you for joining us today on the IT Global Direction. I think you highlighted some key things that I can take away. There's a lot you said. I think other people, when they listen to the podcast, they'll be able to pick up those things. You mentioned that people should sometimes listen to themselves and really find out what they actually want, because there's quite a lot of noise out there where you do things because it is expected that you do things a certain way. And in terms of work-life balance, you also mentioned that you do need a community around you. We spoke about our husbands, that they also are very helpful in helping us grow our kids and actually take on some of the activities that you can do at some point. And in terms of moving up the corporate ladder, you mentioned that not everyone wants it. Sometimes you have to listen to yourself and see, is it really something that you want? And if you want to do it, you will make your way to get that. So I think April will learn quite a lot on this IT work-life balance. And seems like there is some level of balance, even if it may not be 100%, but we can still keep up with the latest technologies and also raise our kids. Did I get it right? Did I miss anything that you said?
You didn't miss anything. I know I didn't talk about so much staying up to date. But honestly, if I were to say advice on that,
Mm-hmm.
I think pick what you really like. So I've been giving myself a focus in the environment that interests me. It's really hard to stay up to date on things that don't interest you,
Yeah,
and you can't know it all. Like you can't.
true.
So pick a topic that interests you and then just do a little bit every day if you can. Just like make it a habit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go take intense courses. You don't have to read like full books. You can just kind of talk to people, articles, podcasts, just like a
Yeah.
little bit, right? Little bit by little bit, make it a practice and pick what you like and don't worry about keeping up with other people. I think there's this sense, that you have to go to every networking event, that you have to read everything out there. You don't. You can
Mm,
meet all your goals without doing that. And I think trying to do that makes you busy but not productive. It doesn't make you get the value you're looking for. It doesn't achieve your goals. It just stretches you too thin. So I
yeah.
would say not to make it about keeping up all the time.
Trying to be jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Thanks, April, once again. It's been lovely having you here and hope to see you in the upcoming podcast with different topics within the IT space because that's where you are.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
awesome.
Thanks, Rorisang. Bye.
Bye.